So, I want to take a bit of time to talk to you about the subject of accents. Now, you'll hear that I've got my very own Scottish accent, which is a bit mixed now from having lived and worked across Scotland and having lived in the south of England for a few years. But it's probably still strong enough that you'll recognise that it's from the west coast of Scotland, just outside Glasgow to be exact. Now, why am I talking to you about this? You're probably wondering. Well, it's because it comes up regularly in conversations with coaching clients. They particularly talk to me about accents when they're applying for jobs and attending selection processes. Now, it's widely reported that in the UK alone, there's about 40 different dialects or accents. And on top of that, there is also the many wonderful accents that we hear from people who have come to live and work in the UK from other countries. So I actually imagine that there's rarely a day that will go by when you only hear people who have an accent similar to your own. So you might be wondering, what is the big deal here? Well, for those who don't speak what's classed as a proper English, whether English is your mother tongue or not, it can be quite daunting to know that you'll have to go to an interview with a group of people who might not understand what you're saying, that in some way that it might limit your chances of success, even if your application makes you a strong contender for the role. Now, verbal communication is important for every job, right? So it means that for every interview, this additional aspect of having a different accent can build on your nerves and anxiety. Not to mention that when you're nervous, you speak quicker and your accent might actually be that little bit stronger. So that again can make it more difficult. Now, I know that this is an issue not just because my clients worry about it, but because I've been in the situation where I've actually been told I've not been successful for a job because the interviewer didn't understand me. And the frustrating thing was that the interviewer didn't mention it at the time or ask me to repeat anything. And this had a major impact on my confidence at the time. I felt really embarrassed. I was worried that I wouldn't be successful in securing my next role, and that it might damage my long-term career. So yeah, quite a bit of catastrophising going on there. But then I went from one extreme to the other because I was so conscious about my accent that I slowed it right down, which I know must have made me sound weird. And even in one really embarrassing, cringy telephone interview, I was asked if I was talking so slowly because I was Googling the responses and then reading them out. I really felt like I couldn't win. So what did I actually do, and what's the advice I give to clients when they feel their accents are an issue? Well, one, I got feedback from other people. What did they think and what did they hear? I practiced slowing down the speed of my conversation, but just not too slow. I practiced my pronunciation and I was conscious not to use localised terms or phrases. And I practiced example responses to interview questions with friends, and I got their feedback. And I got used to calling out my accent at the start of interviews by saying things like, if I'm talking too fast due to nerves, then please let me know, or if there's anything you need me to repeat, just say. And 3 interviews later, I secured my next role. I still had to work on adjusting my accent for working internationally at times, but it got easier, and now I feel like I've got 2 different accents, one for work and a much faster, more Scottish accent that I use with my friends and family. But it's not something I think about, it's kind of interchangeable, it happens naturally, and that's similar to the feedback that my clients tell me when they've tried out these tips. My accent is part of who I am and I'm proud of that. And your accent is part of who you are, but don't let it define your career moves. Practice, take control, call your accent out, and don't let it be a factor that takes control of you and your career.